Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to welcome you to this week's edition of Crossfire, reaching you from the Advent Cable Network Nigeria Television, ACNNTV. I am Olusegun Emmanuel Akinola. Remember, Crossfire is a program that treats controversial topics on diverse issues surrounding the family, church, and society. It's more like a friendly match where we just warm up by raising issues. The ball is eventually left in your court to decide. Everyone has and keeps certain personal secrets. However, when it comes to Christian marriage, the Bible tells us that the two have become one. So does that mean that spouses should divulge every single detail of their lives to one another in order to maintain and build the trust? Or should one be more diplomatic with the information they share with their spouses? Like they say, what you don't know won't hurt you. To discuss this wonderful and interesting topic, we have two gentlemen in the studio with us, a Reverend Emmanuel Ikuejuajo and Engineer Ifeanyi Ejiofor. You're both welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you for being with us on the program today.
It's a pleasure.
Now, let's get right into it. Engineer, let me start with you, since you'll be discussing on the aspect of keeping secrets, while the Reverend, as a Reverend gentleman, will be saying no secrets. Now, from your perspective, why do you say we should actually keep secrets? Are there safe secrets? And wouldn't you say that there are some times that though one may keep a little secret and then such a secret now develops into something else later on? So what's your perspectives?
Okay. Just from your introduction, you talked about diplomacy.
Yes.
And to me, is a very key in this our discussion. Because no one marriage is the same.
Yes, definitely.
No two persons are the same. Even if they are twins, they are not the same. So when you talk about a safe secret, it cannot be the same. My safe secret may not be your own safe secret.
Okay.
So it depends on who is involved. Self-awareness, who you are first, then who your spouse is.
Okay.
Then you will be able, maybe using emotional intelligence, to know what to say and when to say, or what not to say and when not to say it.
Okay. It sounds like so much work for one to be calculating and thinking over and over again. You know, how do you know that, okay, this one is safe, and then before you know it, something else creeps in and then spoils the marriage or spoils the relationship?
Yes, well, from the scriptural background,
Okay.
I would say all things have passed away.
Okay.
Behold, all things have become new. Yes. So God is somebody who makes a sinner a saint. You don't just need to start going back to your past.
Okay.
That is not necessary, unless specifically is being requested for.
Okay.
But if not, why go and disturb yourself about that?
Okay.
You know, there are persons, even sex workers. Somebody, I know somebody on radio who has been a sex worker, but today is a preacher of the gospel. But the person that married her, he didn't come to start revealing all. No, with time, or maybe if the man requested to know, you'll be able to tell him a bit.
Okay.
That is my perspective.
My Reverend gentleman, I don't know if you have something to chip in there. He said there are some that you should keep. All things are passed away. Forget about anything. Start your relationship with your spouse and keep going.
Yes, much as I would like to agree with his points,
Yes.
I still feel like it is still not totally right
Okay.
that you keep secret from your spouse. From the man to the woman, you keeping secrets. Oftentimes it is not always good.
Okay.
There are periods or there are times that it will be good you let out your mind to this lady.
Okay.
Most especially when those people you spend your past with are still very much around you. You know, in a situation where you have a terrible past, and these ladies you've misbehaved with or messed up with are still the people you have in your offices. And at the long run, your wife gets to know about it. from another place or from any other means, but not through you. So it could be a problem.
Of course.
And knowing fully well that all women are not the same. Some, they are temperamental, and they can from there do something else. We have cases like that, that husband and wife will sleep. Like the one that happened when the woman killed the husband. And the husband ate the food that night, even before the woman killed her, killed him. Now, what was the problem? The woman got to know about it, that the man, after like 10 years or 15 years of their marriage, still has a wife outside and children. So this became a problem, and this man never told the woman about it. So oftentimes I think there are in some cases, you don't have to keep the secret. Just let it out. But then it has to be understandable. Thank you very much, sir.
Now, let me now take it to another dimension. Let's say not just the person's own secret. Let's say someone else's secrets, like maybe a family member. If you have unpleasant details about your family, maybe it could be anything. It could be sicknesses. It could be the way the younger brother used to be addicted to drugs before, or the sister may have done abortion before, or maybe the parents were separated, or whatever family details that you have. Will you divulge such things to your spouse? I mean, does it really concern her?
Yes, I still want to maintain my stance. And it is always good, you see, very quickly, number one, for comportment's sake. You can't stop your in-laws from visiting. You can't stop them from coming to you. So, and the wife telling you about their own problem, their terrible past, or what's those serious secrets in their family, it's a very important something. So when they come around like that, you know what to say. You know the kind of conversation to start. You don't just start saying things and your wife will start pushing you by the leg or tapping you that, no, you are going to the extreme. So, but the information will help you to be readily available. Even when they come around, you can easily tell, you know how to comport yourself, and you know the kind of conversation you bring up. And also, it is very, very good. There are some traditions that are terrible. You know, we have cultural differences, and some traditions are terrible. That it is good you tell your wife about it. Not that tomorrow your wife gets to know about it and she will tell you, I can't follow you to do that. So it is always good you balance it. So I still want to maintain my standard. It is always good that this kind of information should be let out. Thank you, sir.
I don't know, engineer. Maybe he's talking like a pastor. Maybe you need to bring it home.
Just as I said before, diplomacy. There must be a balance. It's not all one-sided. You mustn't tell him everything. Reason, there are secrets about your family. Maybe your younger one or elder brother or father or mother was misbehaving or something happened, and you dare let your wife know. That will be even the end of the marriage, because she will capitalize on it to be insulting them, bringing them down at every slightest opportunity. So it is better you watch, just as I said, but the scripture says wisdom is profitable to direct. So you watch, what kind of woman am I married to? The one he needs, the information he needs. If somebody, maybe my father used to be a drunk, and he's no longer drunk. Of what use is that information to my wife? Or even if maybe he was and he's even dead. So why should I still be bringing it up? So that maybe one day she's angry and she starts telling me, like father, like son, as drunk as the father. So, you know, or start insulting my elder ones or insulting my mother, you know. So for that reason, you keep that one. That one is in the past. I don't remember it any longer. I move forward. So but just as he's saying, those ones that might pose a threat to the family, you know, you can let him know or let her know. Say, see, peradventure, you know, some persons, I'm a youth. Before I married, I dated.
So you get to know the person.
I dated people before I married my wife. So I wouldn't go and be listing. If my wife heard that I dated somebody, she should know that I dated somebody. It's not, I must not.
Video want to tell her.
It's not a news that I dated somebody else. To me, it's not a news. So but she won't take it against me because I also don't question her about her past. Who did you date or who didn't you date? Okay. She will now take it against me to say, oh, so you dated this person, you didn't tell me, because sometimes actually when you say you dated, she start monitoring you.
And that person.
Or he start monitoring the wife. Immediately he see you, maybe send a chat or even a greeting or even hug. An open-hearted hug. You start, so you have started going back. It becomes an issue.
That's true.
So you just have to maintain balance and use wisdom.
You know, this issue you just raised now will lead me to the second question about, sending messages or, having some kind of relationship with somebody else. Now, should there be some level of privacy in marriage to say, okay, when it comes to, I don't know, it could be your phone or your finances, you don't just divulge everything? Or should you have some level of privacy that this is yours, you should remain sacred to you and not your wife? Is that permissible?
Well, for me as a person, because my position is not universal.
Okay.
Just as I said, everybody is different, and God wired everybody differently. So how God is dealing with me is not going to deal with another person that way. And that does not mean the way he's dealing with somebody else is wrong.
Okay.
Neither is my own wrong too. Okay. As for finances, well, I don't have any problem with finances. My wife can use my ATM, he knows the PIN, there is no problem. However she wants to use it, fine.
Okay.
She also doesn't question me, however I use the money, it's not a problem.
Okay.
But the issue of phone, I'm telling you a practical example. Sometimes, just like in your introduction, you say what you don't know won't hurt you.
Okay.
What you don't know won't hurt you. Sometimes it depends on your spouse.
Yes.
If it's those people that wants to, trying to find out something he or she thought he never knew before.
Yes. Yes.
Probing into your, not just, but probing. Underline, probing into your phone.
This is not the matter of I want to take pictures.
No.
They actually want to investigate.
They want to probe because we are in a social environment, in the church, in the office, in the workplace. You relate with opposite sex. Oh, you can see somebody, oh, sweetheart, you hug the person, oh, I love you, this one. These are just normal lexicon in our today language,
Okay.
So it's not but sometimes some women, when they see you send such a text or even a chat, I love you, it becomes a problem. In fact, sometimes you may wake up in the midnight, you see your wife crying. She may cry throughout the night. What happened? Because he saw you told somebody, I love you.
Okay. I'm sure everyone will chip in on this one.
So it becomes now different. When such things are causing trouble, why not checkmate it? Have a discussion. Come, see, on this part, please, let's leave this thing like this. Because just as you say, what you don't know won't kill you.
Okay.
And
but that'll be sometimes now. That's sometimes. What you don't know won't kill you. But some other times, what you don't know may actually kill you.
Actually, but most of the time, what you don't know won't kill you.
Okay.
Yes. A lot of people, just like COVID-19, a lot of people pass through COVID-19, not knowing that they're actually infected with COVID-19. But them going through tests to tell them that you are, in fact, that stigma, the person will die instantly.
Okay, that's true.
So it's also good you manage things. You identify the person you're dealing with. You know how to tackle the matter.
Okay.
And even in phones now, there are phones that you can even password apps.
Yes.
It's not just phone. Maybe the person say, some will tell you, I want to use your phone to take picture, and will start going to other things. So some other technology has made it that you can password your email, your other apps you want to. But if the person even demands, I want to see, you can actually give the person, open it up for the person to see. But where I have issue is somebody, maybe when you are not around, you are taking your bath, somebody will start checking who called you. You will check the message, whether you sent a message or whether I received the message. It becomes an issue. And
maybe even start investigating the person on Facebook. That was this person.
Whether he posted something and you liked. You check how many likes. Each time this person posts something, you go and click like. Why?
Okay, on this issue of privacy, I don't know what your idea might be.
I actually like the angle he's coming from.
Okay.
I also want to starting from the finance aspect.
Okay.
Looking at not all women can manage things financially. Not all women, actually. So it is good you understand your spouse.
Of course.
And not only on the women part, of course on the man's part too. It is good the woman also understands the husband too. So when you understand the kind of husband you have, when it comes to management financially, if he is not that balanced, you have a way of going about it. But then I think it is still good that you let her know what is going on. Exactly. Yes, financially. You know, just take for instance, you have your monthly salary. There is nothing bad in you telling your wife, this is the money, and if you want, we have some women that they would like to spend the money.
Of course, of course.
Once the money enters, and they are very much aware of it, they want to help you to spend it.
So they'll spend it even before the money enters.
Until the money. Thank you, sir. So in that kind of situation, you let her know that this is what we have on ground, and this is what we want to use it for. So your parents or your siblings will be coming to ask you for money, and it is still from this money. You have some things you want to do, it is still from this money. I have some things I want to do as well, still from this money. So before you start bringing your problem or you start bringing whatever it is, your expenses, so look at it very well. So let there be mutual agreement between the two as touching that aspect. But then going further, the area of your privacy, your phones and everything. Well, I want to take an exception to that a bit. It is always good you don't even have any secrets. If you think, well, a lady keeps disturbing you, or it's actually a good friend, and let your wife know about it. A time is coming when mistakenly she will even look at it. Not even this time around, not probing into it now. But this time around, she just felt, oh, let me look at the picture I sent to my husband on WhatsApp. And all of a sudden, the message enters from this lady. And there's nothing bad if she checks it. But the problem is, won't it be something that will be so horrible or terrifying to her? So it is always good that you also let her know about it. That is my own stand. Yeah, exactly. So let her know and be cleared, so that tomorrow, it happens to me severally. Of course, my wife will not even check my phone. And if peradventure she checks, she will just look at it, and that's all. She won't even ask questions. So I don't even have password on my phone, because I felt I don't have secret I'm keeping. So, and that is how it should be. That is my own stand about that. Okay. Yes, sir.
Well, I think on this, at this juncture, we'll take a short break, and then we'll be right back.
So when the urge to drink alcohol or smoke marijuana or cigarettes came on me, I would tell myself I can stop all these things through Christ who strengthens me.
At 10 o'clock in the night, I'm lying down on the bed, unable to fall asleep. Because the question kept coming back to me, what if you died? Where would you spend eternity?
Journey of life. God seemed to have lined up people for me.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Crossfire, and we have been discussing keeping secrets in Christian marriage. Is it right or is it wrong? And so far, we have two wonderful gentlemen with us who have been discussing this topic. The Reverend Emmanuel Ikwejuajo, who, of course, being a Reverend gentleman, has been telling us no secrets, no matter what it is. And Engineer Ifeanyi Ejiofor, a youth leader at the Cathedral Church of Advent, Gwarimpa, has been telling us, as a youth, there are some things you need to keep discreet and private to yourself. Well, just before we went on the break, the Reverend gentleman, you have been telling us about certain private issues. There should not be anything private, even if it's your phones, your finances, and so on and so forth. Now, how about an old lifestyle? If someone who has been engaged in whatever it might be that they may have done before in their past, which they have made peace with, they have repented, and of course they are focused on the future. They're trying to build a new life. Do you think it's right to still keep going back into some of those old details, gory details, whatever it might be?
Well, this is a very serious aspect of our conversation.
Yes.
I must tell you that it's indeed a very difficult task, oftentimes, most especially for those that had a very terrible past, and of course of which they've repented of before coming into the marriage. But then I still want to say that I want to borrow his own English as well, diplomacy.
Diplomacy. Okay.
Be diplomatic about it. But number one, study the atmosphere.
Okay.
It is very, very important. And make sure you know the temperament of your wife or your husband before bringing out such conversation. It can be so deadly if it is not well managed.
That's true.
It can be so terrible if the outcome of it, if it is not well managed. So it is always good that the woman in question or the man let out the past, most especially when you think that environment was where it happened or is where it happened, and that is where you are still staying. It is always good you say it.
Okay.
Because in one way or the other, this man can later know from anybody.
Anyway, yeah.
And so, knowing the information not really from the source or from the woman herself or from the man himself could be a problem for the marriage. And so I still want to say that such a thing should be let out. But then the man must understand the kind of woman he is having. And the woman must also understand the kind of husband. Because you can actually say some kind of thing and that will end the marriage. Or that would even reduce the trust to zero. And the trust that this man has been having for the wife. So once the wife says it like, husband, this has been my past, or this was my past, and that could even end the marriage. So that is why one must be so careful and study the atmosphere before.
I think that is even where the main thrust of this issue of secrecy comes in. People are always mindful and careful of what they say and what they do not say. But in a Christian marriage, because that is what we are discussing, I want to look from biblical perspective. Shouldn't one be actually open and vulnerable? You know, the Bible tells us for Adam and Eve, they were both naked in the garden. You know, they shared everything together. Even when Eve took of that fruit, you know, she gave Adam, he also took of it, and they both fell. You know, shouldn't either spouse say, okay, there are some things I should just keep away from this person because you know that certain temperament or the person might misunderstand it or stuff like that? Shouldn't that be a good excuse to say, I will keep this one to myself because I understand that if I say it, you know, bomb will blow?
Yes, actually, I actually thought of it too.
Okay.
But I still want to say it's a very serious or difficult task. It is not easy. Oftentimes, it is not easy. We are humans.
Of course.
And of a truth, this red blood cell still runs in our veins. So, and the way we respond to things differs. And so if you have a wife that is hot-tempered and you want to, this kind of information, you want to divulge it to her, it will be so difficult. But then you have to study the atmosphere and look for a very good time when her mood is actually good. So you can just relate it to her. But then I still want to say that it is always good that it may not be everything. It may not be everything.
He's coming to your point.
He has just agreed with you.
It may not really be everything. Because you have to save your home. You have to save your marriage. But then as time unfolds, those things can still come out. That is when the two of you are well into each other, and of course you can now bring it out. But then at the early stage, I want to maintain that it is still very difficult, and there are some certain things you still have to keep to yourself. Of course, the major thing is your conscience is telling you you are no longer guilty, and you believe that God has forgiven you, and of course you let go of the past. The past remains in the past. This is the future we are talking about. So, but then I still want to believe that there is nothing you can do to forget the past. In fact, you can't even go to a pharmaceutical shop and tell them, please give me a drug. I want to forget what happened some years back. And there is nothing you can do, most especially when it's a terrible one. But then the only thing you can do is not to allow that past to affect your future, affect your present and your future. So in order to help that it is always good that you just let it out to the woman or to the man.
Now,
thank you, sir.
Like you said, the Reverend already seemed to be tilted towards.
But that is life. That is life.
Yes.
Whether you are a reverend, whether you're a bishop, this is life. Your house is not church service. It's easily said to preach or than to practice.
Practice.
Yes, because how will it look like? You have your pastor that is so spiritual, that is your spiritual father, and your wife will tell you one day that this man was dating me before.
Okay.
You know, how will you, there are things you shouldn't just say. Just keep that secret.
To yourself.
Because that may just end the marriage. Maybe it's the man that wants to wed you. And he climbs the pulpit and be telling you, you have to be chaste, you have to... And your wife will open up to say, I actually was dating this man.
You should change church then.
You see? So it's going to affect a lot of things.
Yes.
So I maintain my stand that it cannot be everything.
Okay.
Yes, it cannot be everything.
Okay. Now, leading off from that, now some people say that white lies are inevitable. Very little white lies. Say, where are you now? Oh, I'm in the office. When you're not actually there, or just sit down just to, for the sake of peace. So, how does one actually avoid these so-called white lies, and then you still have a sense of, you still feel guilty that, okay, though you've told a lie, but just for the sake of peace, it's a cover-up. Is that a reasonable reason to keep certain secrets?
Well, when they say white lies, definition of English language is a problem.
Yes.
Because we are not from that side.
Yeah.
So, but I'm maintaining what I've been saying. It depends on who you're dealing with.
Okay.
You may have a business partner that you just, from office, you went out to have a drink. Maybe it's an opposite sex. And your wife calls you.
Yes,
I say, where are you? Say you are having a lunch with so and so person. That may just scatter the whole thing for the whole of that month. You start remembering, when did you take me out the last time? So you have the mind to do this.
Okay.
So it depends on who you are dealing with.
So you can tell a little white lie every now and then for the sake of peace.
For the sake, first of all is that you have to know who you are dealing with.
Okay.
And if you know the person, it's just like when they say a problem known is half solved. When you know your sickness, you know the drug you are going to take.
That's true.
So, but for me, most times, Word of God has kept me going. I will tell my husband, say, don't think you love me. No, love God. So that you will tolerate me because of the love you have for God. Okay. Not for me. I'm a man and I will fail.
Yeah.
If you believe that I'm not going to fail, that means you don't even believe God.
Okay.
Because you are equating me to God, which I'm not. So at any particular point in time, there are circumstances that you just have to. Maybe later, you explain it to her. Just like he said, when he's more comfortable. But for you to just, maybe put it in a loudspeaker. Maybe it's even with the parents. The wife put it, where are you? I'm in so-so, with so-so. And the father, the mother is hearing all of them. You see? The reaction, or maybe she was bragging, or he was bragging, because we are talking about bragging, how good you are, how you are, and this, so you have disappointed her at that point in time. What she was expecting you, because they keep making this mistake. Somebody will call, you want to call somebody you put in a loudspeaker.
Yes.
And you don't know the response of that person. The person may respond contrary to what you are believing is going to respond. And it will be a disgrace. It will be an embarrassment to you. And that embarrassment is going to affect the family. If you come back, before you reconcile that matter. Because it's not only her that heard it, and before you reconcile it, it's going to be a big deal. And her image has been affected.
That's true. This issue of white lie, I don't know where Reverend will stand on it. If there's any such thing like white lie in the Bible.
English language, I don't know which one is white and black lie.
Well, I I also want to say that it is not always good that all these kind of lies that we call white lies.
Lie is lie, I mean.
Lie is actually lie. So you know.
Okay.
But then I actually don't want to sound like I'm a priest now.
Okay.
I want us to be factual.
Yes, yes.
Though we are discussing Christian marriage. Be predictable. Let your wife know your movements. When you are not in the office, it may not be often time actually, but then good number of times your wife should say this is where he is. So, and if peradventure otherwise happen, of course when you explain to her she will understand.
Of course.
But then he said something that understanding the person you're dealing with is very, very important. Is very, very important. You know, one good thing about marriage is you are married to her, you are married to her.
Of course.
So no going back. So most especially when you are married to this hot-tempered person and you are telling the person you are with a woman or you are having a lunch.
So what do you do in that kind of circumstance?
You may smash the phone before you finish answering.
That is it. You know, you have occurrence of that before that time.
Yes.
So it is good you don't even tell her you are with someone.
Okay.
That you are
So
having,
you say the white
but
lie.
some are just optimistic. The wife will be so curious, like, who are you with? You know, who are you with?
I'm with a friend.
So in that situation, I still want to maintain that you tell your wife the truth. You tell your wife the truth. But then,
but not the whole truth.
well, that is why
This man actually came here to agree with me. That's just it, because he knows.
I still want to maintain my own stand that it is good you tell your wife nothing but the truth. Let your conscience be free. You know, it is not always good that you are sleeping on the same bed with your wife and you're having some things in mind and you're feeling guilty. Like, why am I still keeping this from her? And this woman wouldn't do that to me. So why am I still doing this? So it is not always good. Oftentimes I think it is something you should start bringing up. It is a foundation you should lay. At the beginning, it may not be that, it may not really all go well. But please make sure you establish it. Tomorrow it will help your marriage. It may not really all go well. Like, oftentimes people will always come like, but your husband was just telling you the truth and everything. But later on, she will get to understand it, and you move on with your life. So that is my own stance.
Okay. So no matter what it is, try to understand your spouse in every situation. Now, in terms of understanding your spouse, let me chip this one in.
Okay.
You already mentioned it earlier, talking about being open about your finances. Now, if you know your spouse to be a big spender, they want to buy everything, even before you get the alert for the new month, they already calculated of how they will spend it and all of that. You are thinking of the future, you're trying to save, you're trying to plan this, plan that. Now, would you still be open to your spouse, even when you know that they are such a big spender and they're already, maybe even living in debt already, and they are still trying to spend more and more? Would you still be open?
Thank you, sir. This aspect is another aspect that is so serious in marriage.
Of course.
Of course, it is not always easy, most especially for the man. If you have a good spender as a wife that spends anyhow, you know, and you are a meticulous person, or you try to economize things. And so in that area, and I want to suggest that you make your wife your account manager. At least for the first few months of your marriage, you try your best possible to make her your account manager.
The person that is spending the money.
Exactly.
She's the one spending the money.
She's the one spending. So this time around, you both agree with each other that, okay, this is the money coming in. You have your own money as well coming in. So this is what we want to do with our money. But let the money be with you.
Okay.
You are very sure that our siblings will come and say, I need this, I need that. Anybody, most especially if the lady or the husband happens to be the breadwinner of the family, they will come definitely. And you can't stop your wife from giving them money. So let the money be with her. Now, if she likes, let her give the money to them. And if she is coming back to you to ask you anything, you tell her. But you know, you are with everything. Just for the first few months of your marriage, if possible, years. If possible, years. And this time around, you are using that to really establish it. And you really want her to know that I've tested you with this, but this is how far you can go with it. Now you can start managing your thing. And you let her know that this is the reason why you are now managing it. I think she will understand it. Most especially when she is always broke and she discovered that she has been spending lavishly.
Yes.
You know, this person will come, only let's give, the money is with you. But don't forget, this is what we want to do with the money.
Exactly.
So if you think we should give it to her, then no problem.
Okay.
But they should just keep playing to her courts.
Yes, yes.
But then later on, she will come to understand that, oh, I think what my husband is saying is the right thing.
That's right. Okay.
But then that is when you have an understanding wife.
Of course.
So that is just my own stand in that regard.
Women say that their money is their own money.
That
And then your money is their own.
is our money.
It's our money now.
Yes, the man's money is our money. You are very right, sir. So
You know, there's something on the social media about somebody, a man that fainted and is in coma. Not knowing that he never knew that the house they are living for over 10 years belongs to the wife.
Oh, okay.
So when he discovered that, actually
He
he
just
fainted.
Was he not the one that bought the house? How come he's surprised?
No, he's not the one.
Okay.
The woman, the man actually went and rented the woman's house from an agent. Now he had an issue with the agent.
Wow.
So critical that the agent had to lead to the husband, to the wife, the owner of the house.
Owner of the house.
Lo and behold, is the wife.
now
that is
look
a
at
big
the example he gave.
That is a big secret.
Now this man fainted when he got to know about it, and that could even lead to his death.
Of course.
Or probably high blood pressure that this man will be nurturing,
But the issue is
hypertension and all
that
that.
I'm now speaking in favor of the woman. The issue is that that kind of man is a waster, and the wife knows that.
Okay.
Perhaps any money that enters his hand, he will use it and buy it and go and lavish, maybe in beer parlor or something.
Yes.
The children will be suffering of school fees, no investment. You have worked and about to retire, nothing. So such thing, you think it's not just giving advice. You just have to take a concrete decision.
Yeah.
So far as lawyers, you can write a will. Even peradventure you die or something happens suddenly, the will can be able to sort that out.
Of course.
But for you to keep allowing somebody that you know that is not
Spending the money.
there's not the person will just find out that
You.
even the house rent you can't pay.
He can't pay.
Children's school fees you can't pay. And you check how much that you have entered within the month, it's running into millions. And the person say, and everything he will still refer to you. And you know there's something that will happen. Will you go and be explaining to everybody on the road, it's my wife or it's my husband that is eating the money?
You keep a secret from
No,
them.
you keep a secret from them.
Very quickly, sir. Let me quickly chip this in. I also want to agree with him.
Okay.
In one way.
Okay.
You know, even in the scriptures too, we all know Jezebel, the wife of Ahab, King Ahab.
Yes.
And then there was a time Naboth wanted to, Ahab wanted to collect this land that belongs to Naboth. And Naboth said, no, I won't.
Exactly.
But this man would have done well by going to beer parlor to like relax himself or visit a friend. But he felt, let me go home. When he got home, the look was not good. But this woman, let's live the life of Jezebel now. I'm looking at a good wife. But of course, we turned out to be a bad woman,
Of course,
you know, because of our wayward life and everything. But then this man got home and he felt, let me just tell my wife about it. The wife looked at, well, husband, why is your face like this? And he said, oh, my wife, oh, this is the problem. Oh. And he said, is that why you are downcast? No, that is not a problem. Don't worry, it is done. You know, oftentimes we've had records of women handling the finance of the family, and they are handling it well. So that is why I said it will be good you push it to her court first. Look at how she will maintain it. And if she is not really maintaining it well, then you can take it from her and you take over.
And I'm also chipping in, not just, I'm talking of spouse.
Yes.
So that the men watching us
both sides.
will understand, because there are a lot of men who are wasters.
Wasters too.
Troublesome. They will collect the money, beat you up, use it and carry another woman. Your own money. You know?
That's true.
So it becomes an issue.
Now, finally, just like a final word, there are some who will say when you're keeping secrets, it shows you're not willing to be vulnerable. You're not willing to show that emotional side of you, because they say men are always, very strict. You want to do this, you want to do that. You don't let the women in. So would you say keeping secrets is a sign of emotional unavailability, that the person doesn't want to be open to issues that concern maybe their family, their past, or whatever it might be?
There is nothing hidden under the sun. We are Christians and we must make that emphasis. Those secrets, no matter how you keep it, if God keeps you alive, you yourself will still use your mouth to die for it.
Okay.
It's just that at that material point in time, it's not necessary for that person to have that information. It's just like a child, you have been saving, you just give birth, you open an account, you are saving money, and your child is not even up to 10 years. Your child already knows that in his account, he has 50 million. The child will start misbehaving immediately.
Yes.
So, but you will, there is no money, I'll go and borrow this one. So that the consciousness that I need to work. So the same way with spouses. With time, all those things. You can even relax, and now maybe when you'll be saying, maybe you are a grandmother, or you are grandparents now, you'll be saying, oh, look at that one. Oh, I dated that. Really? And I didn't know all this while. And you people will just laugh over it. Because two of you are no longer going anywhere.
Yeah.
You can't leave her, she can't leave you. But when she's still hot, she check her shape, you see. If you do anyhow, you will see anyhow, she will just disappear.
Okay. So
well, my own take on that is it is always good that well, oftentimes you let out the information to this woman or probably to this man because you never can tell where the information will come from.
That's true. And
this man will get to know. And it is not always good that the woman will come and ask you about your past. Is that true? Have you been going out with this person?
Yes, before.
Before, yes, I think. Have you been going out with this person before and everything?
Thank God it's before.
And, you know, so that kind of, the woman will feel like, no. She will always question, after that day, she will always question your movement. So whatever you say to her, she will want to know more about it. So the issue of trust will now come in. And it will now be that she will be struggling with, should I trust this person or not, and everything. So that in some cases, actually, you just, as early as possible, you let her some information.
Thank you.
But then, but later, as time goes on, you've known her, of course, you are used to her, she's used to you. So you can now start saying some other things that you think is important at that very time.
Well, we really want to appreciate both of you for the wonderful contributions you've made thus far. And if there's anything I can take from it, is being able to understand your spouse and to grow with them day by day. It's not everything you know before the wedding day or even after a few years in the wedding. There are things that always come up as time goes by.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for being on the show with us.
You're welcome.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has indeed been a delightful time discussing this wonderful topic. Unfortunately, our time is up, and we do hope you have been enriched by these discussions. You know, secrets are by definition something you do not want the other person to know, something that is covered, something hidden. So every spouse needs to ask themselves, why won't I want my spouse to know about this thing? And also, spouses should know that certain things may need to remain private, maybe for some time. Whatever the case may be, we need to learn to be open and maybe vulnerable with one another, because that is what true love in marriage is all about. We thank you for being with us today. Till next time, stay blessed and stay safe. Goodbye.